I swear to God, the moment she said it, something inside me cracked. She was standing at the edge of our bed, zipping up that red suitcase I got her last Christmas, tossing in heels she hadn't worn in years and lingerie I'd never seen in our bedroom. Her lips curved into a smirk like she was the villain in some bad soap opera, and she didn't even bother to hide it anymore. "You can't stop me," she said, almost whispering. "I'm going to impress him." My heart didn't just drop, it shattered on the way down. I didn't say a word at first. Just stood there in the doorway like a damn ghost, watching my wife, pack for a weekend getaway with the guy she'd been sneaking around with. The air between us was thick with silence, but not the kind that begged for peace. This one screamed betrayal. Her name is Lindsay, by the way. Lindsay Morgan. The woman I married 5 years ago in front of 200 people, with vows about forever and loyalty. I remember how her voice cracked during "Till Death Do Us Part." I thought it was emotion. Turns out, it was foreshadowing. "Who the hell is he?" I finally asked. She didn't even look up, just kept rolling up her silk nightgown, one I hadn't seen on her in months. "Maybe never." "You don't know him," she replied coolly. "He's better for me. Ambitious. Alive. Not stuck in routine. Routine." I felt my chest tighten. I wanted to yell, break something, demand answers. But I didn't. I watched her the way someone watches their house burn down from the front lawn, paralyzed, helpless. She was so casual about it, so proud. Like cheating was some badge of independence. Her confidence wasn't born from guiltlessness. It was born from knowing I wouldn't do anything about it. She thought I'd fold, that I'd let her go and cry in the dark. I needed to understand how we got here. And that's when it started to hit me, all the signs I'd brushed off. The sudden gym obsession, the new perfumes, the random girls' nights that had her coming back at 2 a.m. giggling like a damn teenager. The way her phone was always flipped face down. How she'd changed the subject when I asked her about work. How she stopped looking at me like I was her man, and more like I was her landlord. Lindsay used to light up when I walked into her room. These days, I was just background noise to her chaos. She paused for a moment, grabbed a pair of lace underwear from her drawer, looked at me with those green eyes I used to get lost in, and said, "You're overthinking. This doesn't have to be dramatic, Ethan. Just let me live a little." Let her live? I'm the one who put food on this damn table. I paid for that suitcase, that car she's driving to the airport, the very bed she used to lie to me in. And now she's telling me she needs to live a little by flying off with some random guy to impress him? "You sure about this?" I asked, my voice low, shaking. "You really want to throw this away? Us." That smirk again. There is no us anymore. And just like that, she zipped the suitcase and walked past me like I was nobody. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat on the couch with a bottle of bourbon in my hand, trying to process the moment my life split in two. I couldn't shake her face, the arrogance in it, the way she enjoyed twisting the knife. She didn't cry. She didn't explain. She didn't even pretend to regret it. And I hadn't even scratched the surface yet. Because what I found out the next morning, what was hidden behind those flip-down phones and perfume-scented lies, would push me over the edge. I wasn't just watching my wife walk out. I was about to find out how long she'd been walking away from me. The next morning, I woke up to the silence of an empty house and the dull headache that comes from drinking too much but sleeping too little. Her side of the bed was untouched. She hadn't even pretended to lie next to me before leaving. I don't know what made me do it. Maybe instinct, maybe spite, but I walked over to her nightstand. I opened the drawer, and there it was. A second phone. Not a regular iPhone with the floral case and lock screen of us at the Grand Canyon. This was a burner, cheap, scratched up, and buzzing like it still had secrets to spill. I unlocked it. No passcode. Like she thought I'd never find it, or didn't care if I did. The messages were all there. Dozens. Hundreds. From a guy named Chad, of all damn names. Chad Thompson. Worked at her firm, in marketing. Married, apparently. Kids. That made it even sicker. There were messages like, "I can't wait to see you in that red dress. He doesn't deserve you. I'll make you feel like a queen. Bring that lotion I like. I want to taste every inch of you." I felt my throat tighten. My skin burned. I threw the phone across the room, heard it crack against the wall, but it didn't satisfy me. Nothing could. But I kept reading, scrolling like a masochist, drowning in the filth they sent each other. Pictures, too. Hers, mostly mirror shots in our bathroom, even a damn video from the guest room. The guest room. The one her sister used to stay in when she visited. I stared at the reflection of myself in the TV screen. Pale. Empty-eyed. Rage pulsing under the skin like a second heartbeat. She had used our home like a playground. Like I was invisible. Worse than invisible, irrelevant. I texted her. Not a paragraph. Just one word. Why? She didn't reply. Around noon, I got a message from a mutual friend, Tyler, my old college buddy who always saw more than he let on. Hey man, I know this is weird, but I saw Lindsay at the airport earlier. She wasn't alone. He sent a photo. Blurry, but clear enough. Lindsay in tight jeans and sunglasses, walking arm in arm with Chad. Laughing. Her hand on his chest. No shame. No fear. I called her. Straight to voicemail. Then she finally messaged back. I told you not to make this messy. Please don't embarrass yourself. Embarrass myself? I was spiraling. The rage, the betrayal, it was boiling so hot I couldn't think straight. I threw open the closet, grabbed the duffel bag I used for the gym, and started packing. Not because I was leaving. No. I was going to pay Chad a visit. I knew where he lived. I'd driven Lindsay there once months ago when she left her car at the shop. She said she was meeting a coworker to plan an office retreat. That coworker was Chad. Of course it was. I pulled into his neighborhood around 2 p.m. Clean lawns, smiling families, American flags waving like everything was pure. It made me sick. His wife answered the door. Her name was Rebecca. Sweet smile, tired eyes. She looked like the kind of woman who baked cupcakes for school events and stayed up late waiting for her husband to come home. I didn't want to ruin her world. But she deserved the truth. I'm Ethan, I said. I think we need to talk. It's about your husband and my wife. The way her smile dropped, it was like watching a soul leave a body. We sat in her living room, both of us shaking. She brought out a bottle of wine, hands trembling, and poured us each a glass. I showed her the messages. She didn't cry. Just stared at them like someone who had suspected it for a while but never dared to look directly at the storm. She showed me a receipt. Hotel in Miami. Booked for 2. Chad's name on the reservation. They'd gone together, booked under their real names like they weren't even trying to hide. And just like that, I realized they weren't afraid of getting caught. They wanted to be seen. They wanted us to know, eventually. Because they'd already decided we were the past. Rebecca excused herself, said she needed a moment. I sat there, clutching the wine glass like it was the only thing keeping me from exploding. And then I heard her sobbing in the kitchen. Deep, gut-wrenching sobs. I didn't go to her. I couldn't. I was too far gone. In my head, all I saw was Lindsay's smirk, that red suitcase, her voice saying, "You can't stop me." I should have known. I should have seen it coming. But I didn't. And now, I couldn't unsee any of it. I drove home in silence. Didn't even turn on the radio. Just the hum of the engine and my fingers clenched tight around the steering wheel. My knuckles were white, but I didn't notice until I pulled into the driveway and saw my reflection in the rearview. I looked like a man who'd just come back from a war. Maybe I had. The house was too quiet. Too clean. Her perfume still hung in the air like a ghost that refused to leave. I walked straight into the kitchen, poured the rest of the bourbon, and sat at the table where we used to eat together, laugh, plan vacations, talk about kids we never ended up having. I opened my laptop. I couldn't help it. I needed to know more. Needed to feel the full weight of it before I figured out what the hell to do next. I logged into our shared cloud drive. She probably forgot it existed. She always hated syncing photos, said it was too techy. But she'd left it on. And there it was. An entire album of her and Chad. Beach pictures. Hotel room selfies. Him feeding her dessert. Her kissing his cheek. Him holding her waist like he owned her. One photo hit harder than the rest. Her in that blue bikini I'd bought her on our anniversary trip to Aruba. She never even wore it with me. But with him? She wore it, posed in it, and captioned it, impressing him just fine. I lost it. Slammed the laptop shut so hard it cracked the corner. I stood up and grabbed a plate from the shelf, our wedding china. Threw it against the wall. Shards flew everywhere. I didn't care. It felt good. It felt like something. Then the front door opened. I froze. She walked in like she owned the place, wheeling the red suitcase behind her. No shame. Not a flicker of guilt on her face. Just that damn smirk again. Flight got canceled, she said casually, kicking off her shoes. Miami's got storms. I didn't move. I just stared. She looked at the broken plate, the shattered glass on the floor, and raised an eyebrow. What the hell happened here? You throw a tantrum or something? Sit down, I said. My voice was low, cold. She chuckled. What? Is this an interrogation now? Don't be pathetic, Ethan. I grabbed the burner phone off the counter and slid it toward her. She glanced at it, still playing it cool. Oh, so you found that. That's all you've got to say? She shrugged. I told you. You can't stop me. I needed more than what you were giving me. I was tired of being invisible. Invisible? I snapped. You had everything. A house, a husband, security. I had boredom, she interrupted, voice sharp now. You think being married to you is some fairy tale? You come home, eat dinner, watch the same shows, wear the same shirts. You stopped being a man. You became furniture. I stepped back like she'd slapped me. And Chad? I asked. He's the exciting option? A married guy with 2 kids and a midlife crisis. She laughed. Laughed. He's more of a man than you've ever been. At least he knows how to make a woman feel alive. You? You make a woman feel stuck. There it was. Raw. Nasty. Unfiltered. I felt something inside me die. I looked her dead in the eyes. You've been sleeping with him in our house. In our bed. She didn't deny it. Didn't flinch. Sometimes, she said with a shrug. When the timing worked. I could have hit a wall. I could have yelled until my throat bled. But instead, I nodded slowly. Then I picked up the folder from the table and dropped it in front of her. What's this? She asked, frowning. Divorce papers, I said. Already filed. And before you get any ideas, yes, I have proof. Yes, I already sent copies to my lawyer. And yes, your little beach photos? They're going to look real nice in court. Her face twitched for the first time. The smirk faltered. Just for a second. You're being dramatic, she said. No, I said, my voice calm now, too calm. I'm finally being a man you remember. She stared at me, like she didn't recognize the person in front of her. I walked past her, grabbed my keys, didn't even look back. But as I stepped out, she called after me. You'll regret this. I paused at the door. No, I said. The only thing I regret is ever believing you were anything more than a lie I married. Then I walked out, leaving her standing in the wreckage she created. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel broken. I felt free. I didn't go far. Just drove until the sun dipped low and the sky turned that angry orange. I didn't even know where I was going. My hands just moved, and the road did the rest. Eventually, I pulled into the parking lot of an old motel off the highway. One of those places with buzzing neon signs and cigarette burns on the curtains. It was perfect. I needed somewhere that didn't ask questions. The room smelled like bleach and old secrets. I threw my bag on the bed and stared at the ceiling fan spinning like it had seen too much. My phone buzzed every few minutes, calls from Lindsay, messages that switched between begging and blaming. You don't have to do this. We can fix it. You're ruining your own life. This is your fault too. I made a mistake, but you pushed me there. That last one? That's the one that really dug into my skin. I didn't respond. I just blocked her number and tossed the phone on the dresser. Around midnight, I went outside to breathe. The air was heavy, but at least it didn't lie to me. I sat on the curb, elbows on my knees, and just let it hit me. The silence. The emptiness. The realization that everything I thought I knew about my life was a damn illusion. And then I remembered Rebecca, Chad's wife. I still had her number. After everything we'd shared that afternoon, the raw truth, the photos, the silent pain, I figured I owed her a check-in. I sent a simple message. You okay? She replied almost instantly. No, but thank you for asking. We texted for a while. Nothing dramatic. Just 2 people trying to hold on to sanity in the middle of a storm we never saw coming. She told me Chad hadn't come home, that he texted her some nonsense about needing space and not to contact him. She was considering taking the kids to her sister's. She asked if Lindsay had said anything real. I told her the truth. She said I'm furniture. Rebecca sent a broken heart emoji, then corrected herself. Sorry, that was dumb. You're not furniture, Ethan. She's just broken in ways we'll never understand. I don't know why, but those words felt like a stitch in a wound. Not a fix, but something. We stayed in touch over the next few days, exchanging little updates. Rebecca filed for divorce, too. Said she found a second phone in Chad's gym bag. Same pattern. Same lies. Same lipstick on receipts. It was like they followed the same manual on betrayal. Back at the motel, I started putting my life back together in pieces. I called my lawyer. Transferred money. Canceled joint accounts. Every step made things feel a little more real. A little more mine. And then came the final insult. A certified letter from Lindsay's lawyer. Inside, a request for amicable division of assets, spousal support, and a list of items she wanted to keep, including the house. She wanted the house. The same house where she snuck her lover into our bed. The same house where she laughed in my face and told me I couldn't stop her. I laughed out loud when I read it. A dry, bitter laugh that sounded like it belonged to someone else. I called my lawyer and told him we weren't being amicable. Not anymore. A few days later, Lindsay showed up at the motel. No warning. Just knocked on the door like she had a right to stand in front of me again. I opened it. Slowly. She looked rough. Dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back like she hadn't had time to pretend anymore. You really meant it, she said quietly. Yeah, I said. I did. She stepped inside without asking. Looked around the room like she was above it all. This is where you're staying now? This is where I'm getting my life back. She rolled her eyes. You're being petty. No, I said, folding my arms. You're being delusional. You think you can cheat, lie, humiliate me, and then walk back and like nothing happened. Her voice rose. I didn't think you'd be so dramatic about it. People make mistakes. Sleeping with someone for months behind my back isn't a mistake. It's a campaign. We stood there in silence. Then she said it. He doesn't even want me now. I blinked. What? Chad. After the trip fell through, he said it was getting too real. Said I was acting crazy. Blocked me. I stared at her, letting the weight of her words hang in the air. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't grieving what she did. She was just angry she lost. You know what's funny? I said. You burned your whole life down for a guy who saw you as nothing but a weekend escape. And now you're standing here hoping I'll be your backup plan. Tears welled up in her eyes. But I didn't feel sorry for her. I felt nothing. You need to leave, I said. Ethan, please. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. That makes two of us, I said. Now get out before I call the front desk. She stood there a moment longer, waiting for something. Maybe mercy. Maybe weakness. She got neither. She walked out. And for the first time since this whole nightmare began, I shut the door behind her and didn't feel the urge to open it again. The next morning, I woke up with sunlight bleeding through the broken blinds and silence thicker than ever. But this time, the silence didn't feel like loneliness. It felt like space. Breathing room. Something I hadn't felt in months, maybe years. No buzzing phone. No lies waiting in unread messages. No perfume trails leading to betrayal. I sat up, rubbed the back of my neck, and realized I'd slept for 8 hours straight. First time in weeks. The weight on my chest wasn't gone, but it had shifted, like it was finally starting to slide off, piece by piece. Later that day, I packed my bag and checked out of the motel. Time to stop hiding. Time to move forward, whatever that looked like. I didn't go back to our house. I'd already decided it wasn't mine anymore. She poisoned it. Every room, every memory. I didn't even want to fight for it. Let her keep it. Let the walls whisper the lies back to her. Instead, I found a small apartment downtown. Nothing fancy, just clean, quiet, mine. I paid 6 months up front and furnished it with basics. A couch that didn't know her name. A bed that hadn't heard her moan for someone else. I took a photo of the keys in my hand and sent it to Rebecca. She replied with a thumbs up and a heart. The weird thing? We started talking more. Not like trauma buddies, not exactly. More like people slowly rediscovering what real conversation felt like. There were nights we talked for hours about everything but them. About music, about food, about childhood memories, about the silence of being married to someone who stopped seeing you. She made me laugh again. That was new. But just when I thought I was finding balance, Lindsay pulled her final stunt. She showed up at my office. Unannounced. Uninvited. Wearing that fake smile she used to save for holiday parties and Instagram photos. My coworker buzzed me. There's a woman here to see you. Says it's urgent. I didn't even look up from my desk. Tell her I'm dead. But 5 minutes later, she was at my door anyway. Must have sweet-talked the front desk or lied through her teeth. Wouldn't be the first time. I looked up. She stood there holding a manila folder, her eyes red, makeup smudged. You got 5 seconds, I said. I'm pregnant. The words didn't register at first. They just sat there in the air like fog. Excuse me. She walked in, closed the door, and sat in the chair like we were still married, like she had any right to take up that space. I missed my period. I took 2 tests. Then I went to the clinic. It's real, Ethan. I leaned back, arms crossed. Is it mine? She flinched. Don't say it like that. You cheated on me with another man. Multiple times. In our house. In our guest room. Don't stand there pretending you deserve benefit of the doubt. I don't know yet, she admitted. That's why I'm here. To tell me you're pregnant with maybe my kid? I didn't know who else to talk to. I stood up. Go talk to Chad. Oh wait, he blocked you. She started crying again. But I didn't move. I didn't comfort her. I wasn't that man anymore. If it's yours, I'll need help. If it's mine, I said coldly, you'll get what's legal. Nothing more. And if it's not, you better pray it isn't. She left. Quietly this time. No drama. No last word. Just the sin of regret trailing behind her. I took the rest of the day off. Sat in my car for an hour with my head resting on the steering wheel, trying to remember the last time I truly felt safe with someone. Not just comfortable, but seen, valued. Funny how silence and betrayal make you rethink everything. A week later, she messaged me. It's not yours. No apology. No relief. Just those 3 words. Like I was a box she needed to check off. I stared at the screen for a long time. And then I deleted her number. That night, I called Rebecca. Asked if she wanted to meet for dinner. No pressure. Just food and company. She said yes. No hesitation. When I hung up, I smiled for the first time in a long time. Not because everything was fixed, but because I had finally stopped bleeding. And tomorrow? Tomorrow I'd wake up clean. Rebecca and I met at a small Italian place tucked between a bookstore and a flower shop. One of those spots you'd never notice unless you were looking for it, and somehow that made it perfect. She wore a soft green sweater, no makeup, hair pulled back in a loose ponytail. No mask. No performance. Just her. And for the first time in what felt like a century, I wasn't scanning a woman for signs of betrayal. I just looked at her. She smiled when she saw me and pulled me into a hug that lasted just long enough to matter. Been a while, she said. Too long, I replied. We didn't talk about Lindsay or Chad that night. Not once. We talked about music, how she used to play piano but stopped after the kids were born. I told her about the time I crashed my dad's car in high school and lied about it until the neighbor showed up with doorbell cam footage. We laughed so hard the waiter came by twice just to make sure we were okay. There was no pressure between us. No expectations. Just 2 people who understood each other's pain without needing to drag it into every moment. But even in that calm, even in the warm light and soft music, something kept tugging at me. Not about Rebecca, about myself. I hadn't really looked in the mirror since everything blew up. Not looked. I'd been reacting, surviving, going through motions. But who was I now? Without Lindsay? Without the man I used to be? The next morning, I went for a run. I hadn't done that in months. Used to do it every day before work, back when life made sense. I didn't even plan it. Just woke up, threw on an old hoodie, and ran. Through streets I didn't know, past parks and gas stations, through pain in my legs and lungs. I ran until I couldn't think, until all that remained was movement. And when I stopped, drenched in sweat and gasping, I felt alive. It wasn't clarity. Not yet. But it was something close. Later that week, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Shouldn't have. But I did. Ethan? Her voice was quiet. Worn. Different. Lindsay, I said flatly. I'm in therapy now. Good for you. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. For everything. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I needed to say it. There was a pause. I let it sit. I don't hate you, I said finally. But I don't care anymore. That's what you took from me. You didn't just break us. You made me numb to what we had. She sniffed. I deserve that. Yes, I said. You do. I hope you're happy. I will be. Click. And that was it. No shouting. No drama. Just the quiet end of a chapter that had run too long. Over the next few weeks, things shifted. Rebecca and I started seeing each other more often. Dinners, long walks, even a trip to the mountains with her kids. I didn't rush it. Neither did she. We were still healing, still unpacking years of damage. But we were doing it side by side. One night, we sat on a blanket under the stars while her youngest daughter slept in the back seat of her car. Do you ever think, she said softly, that maybe the pain had a purpose? I thought about it. About the humiliation, the heartbreak, the nights I spent staring at the ceiling in that motel. Yeah, I said. It taught me how blind I was. And how strong I actually am. She nodded. Same. We didn't say I love you. Not yet. But it was there. In the way she reached for my hand. In the way I held it like I never wanted to let go. Months passed. Seasons changed. I moved out of the apartment and into a new place, one with windows that caught the morning sun just right. One where laughter replaced silence. One where betrayal was just a scar, not an open wound. I didn't think about Lindsay much anymore. She moved to another city, last I heard. Got a job. Started over. Good for her. I didn't hate her. I just didn't care. And that, I realized, was peace. If I could tell anyone going through what I went through one thing, it's this: you will survive. You'll bleed, you'll scream, you'll lose parts of yourself you thought were permanent. But on the other side of that destruction is a version of you that's wiser, stronger, free. And one day, when you least expect it, you'll laugh again. And it won't be hollow. It'll be real. It was almost a year to the day when I passed by our old house. I hadn't planned to. I was on the way to meet a client across town, took a wrong turn, and suddenly there it was, still sitting on that corner lot, still painted the same beige with the navy blue shutters. But the grass was overgrown now. We'd sprouted along the sidewalk. The rosebush I used to trim every Saturday was dying, brown at the edges. It looked abandoned. Or maybe just unloved. I parked across the street and sat there for a while, engine running, radio off. I could see the bedroom window from where I was. The same window where I used to stand brushing my teeth while Lindsay curled her hair behind me. The same window she later locked when she didn't want me knowing what, or who, was going on inside. I didn't feel anger. Not anymore. Just a strange sense of distance. Like I was watching someone else's memories. Eventually, I pulled away. That evening, I told Rebecca where I'd gone. She listened quietly, then reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "I'm glad it's not yours anymore," she said. "Yeah," I replied. "Me too." Later that night, after we put the kids to bed, we sat on the couch with a blanket around us. The kind of quiet between us wasn't heavy, it was full. Peaceful. "Do you think you'll ever get married again?" she asked suddenly. I thought for a second. Not because I doubted my answer, but because I wanted to say it right. "I think if the right woman is already sitting beside me, then yeah, someday." She smiled and leaned her head on my shoulder. "Good answer." I kissed the top of her head. Some scars don't vanish. They just fade. They become part of your skin, not your story. A few months later, I got an invitation to a wedding. One of Lindsay's old friends, someone who still followed me on social media, for reasons I'll never understand. Inside the envelope was a photo. Lindsay was there, in the background of the engagement party, half smiling beside some guy I didn't recognize. Her eyes looked tired. Her smile looked rehearsed. I threw the invite away. It didn't matter anymore. What mattered was this: I had survived her lies. I had rebuilt. And I hadn't just moved on, I'd leveled up. There was a moment, not long after, when Rebecca's daughter called me Dad by accident. She said it quietly, in the middle of a grocery store aisle, while asking if we could get the cereal with marshmallows. Her cheeks flushed as soon as she said it, eyes wide, waiting for me to correct her. But I didn't. I just smiled and said, "Yeah, let's get that one." And that was the moment I knew. This life, the one I thought was ending when Lindsay zipped up that red suitcase, had only just begun. Not because I forgot the pain, but because I used it. I let it teach me, harden me, rebuild me. So if you're reading this, and you're in the middle of your own collapse, here's what I'll tell you. You won't be okay overnight. You'll break. You'll doubt. You'll feel like nothing makes sense. But one day, without warning, the weight will lift. You'll look in the mirror and see someone you actually respect again. And you'll realize she didn't break you. She just revealed the man you were meant to become. The last real moment that tied me to the past happened on a random Thursday. I was clearing out an old storage box I'd shoved in the back of my closet, full of things from the before life. There were receipts from trips, love notes Lindsay had written in the early days, ticket stubs from concerts, and photos. So many photos. Smiling faces. Moments that once felt like forever. I stared at one of them, us in front of a waterfall, her arms wrapped around my waist like I was her whole world. What a damn performance. I didn't cry. I didn't feel nostalgic. I felt clarity. I tossed the whole box in the trash. All of it. Not out of hate. Not out of rage. But because I finally understood, those memories weren't mine. They were stories I was told. Stories I believed. But the real story? The one I lived through? That was something else entirely. Lindsay didn't destroy me. She revealed me. She ripped away the illusion and showed me who I actually was beneath it all. A man who could take betrayal and build something stronger from the ashes. A man who could walk through hell and come out clean on the other side. Not untouched, no, but undeniably alive. And now? Now I laugh without hesitation. I sleep without nightmares. I love real love without fear. Rebecca and I didn't rush things. We let time do its work. And when I asked her to marry me, it wasn't with trembling hands or uncertainty. It was steady, whole, honest. She said yes. Our wedding wasn't big. Just a few friends, her kids, some tears, and a hell of a lot of truth in our vows. We didn't promise perfection. We promised presence. And after everything we'd seen, that was more than enough. Every now and then, the past tries to whisper. A memory, a smell, a street name. But I don't let it stay long. Because the man I am now, he doesn't live there anymore. He's got a new home, a new love, and a new story, one he wrote with open eyes, bruised hands, and a heart that refuses to stay broken. So to any man reading this, standing where I once stood, staring at the wreckage of what he thought was forever, hear me when I say this. Let her go. Let the pain mold you, not define you. Walk out the door, and never look back. Because out there, past the betrayal and beyond the fire, there's a version of you waiting to be born. And he's worth every damn step,